Tonight, major breaking news about your second stimulus check and second stimulus package. And the overriding theme is fake narrative. Fake narratives literally everywhere. A fake narrative from the White House, a fake narrative from Steve Mnuchin, a fake narrative from Nancy Pelosi, a fake narrative from Mitch McConnell, and a fake narrative from Chuck Schumer and even the moderates who wrote the Problems Creators Bill. It's really messy. It's so messy that everyone's saying the wrong thing on purpose to confuse people. Case in point, gossip item number one. There is no $600 stimulus check. It's a gossip story. The White House denies it. Says that there has been no agreement upon any stimulus check. The White House has made no determination on a stimulus check, but the White House wants a stimulus check. Item number two, Steve Mnuchin's proposal. It's not a proposal, because guess what? After he wrote the proposal that doesn't include the stimulus check, the White House says, well, he meant to include a stimulus check, he didn't put it in there. Item number three, Chuck Schumer says that he is rejecting Mitch McConnell's offer to take out state and local, but that Mitch can take out his offer of removing liability insurance. Well, minutes thereafter, Nancy Pelosi writes a letter that says she's excited that Mitch McConnell has accepted the problem solver's offer. No, he hasn't. Mitch McConnell said he would agree to take out liability insurance if you agree to take out state and local. Another fake narrative. Meantime, Mitch McConnell says that his only offer that he has from the White House is the $500 billion that he originally started from. He doesn't have any Steve Mnuchin's offer at all. Oh my goodness. And then across the board, more people come out in favor about a stimulus check, but no one can even agree upon what they're even agreeing upon. It's so confusing, I almost want to pop 2 more Advil, as if I haven't already. I'm going to have all the details for you across the board. It's all really exciting. I'm so glad you joined me, and we're not doing fake narratives here. We're not doing fake hair extensions, but, you know, some of the ornaments may be a little bit fake as well. As always, thank you for joining me on Evenings LALATE. Hey, good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining me on Evenings LALATE. With the garland behind me is fake, but that's about the only thing that's fake on this channel. Because today I'm literally dealing with a whole siege of fakeness, and it's just overwhelming. There's no $600 stimulus check. There's no $600 stimulus check bill. There's no Steve Mnuchin bill or proposal because it's been trumped by Trump himself. And then Nancy Pelosi's statement that Mitch McConnell's agreed to something, he has not agreed to anything. The one thing you need to agree upon, though, is subscribing to this channel. Go to the front of the channel, subscribe, because no one's getting you through this pandemic better than I am. And no one's keeping you informed about the details and saying this is gossip when it's gossip and telling you this is facts when it's facts. Now, we certainly understand when someone has a position about something. Chuck has a position about this, Nancy has a position about that. That's fine. But when people are told it's a law, or that it's a bill, or that it's been voted upon, or it's dead and that's it, then suddenly a pandemic of confusion erupts in the middle of a pandemic. And that's what happened on Being a Mitch, if you did not tune in earlier tonight. So please subscribe, because I'm getting viewers money right now, not 5 days from now, not 5 weeks from now. And along the way, I'm kicking all the gossip to the curb. Also, like this video. In tonight's video, I'm going to literally be taking the gossip, wrapping it up in a bow, and sending it back to sender, because that's what's going on tonight. And I'm not dealing with one person doing gossip. I'm dealing with nearly all of them doing gossip. And it's literally gossip mongers in the Capitol Hill tonight. And boy, it's just a hot mess express. As if they couldn't get anyone to agree upon what they're doing. Now they're making up stories about what's going on. So let's get to all that and more. And I'll be getting over to your $2,400 of SSI and SSDI and your state stimulus as well. Let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news is that there literally is just so many darn lies coming out tonight. It's overwhelming. So let me go through each of them one by one very slowly. This afternoon, Mitch McConnell said, I would agree to the moderates' $900 billion bill if they take out state and local, which would reduce it to $600 billion, and I'll take out liability insurance. That was what he said. I will make a deal if this happens. Tonight, Nancy Pelosi said, I'm so happy that Mitch McConnell has agreed to the $900 billion bill. No, he didn't, Nancy. He said, I would agree to the $600 billion version of it if you take out state and local, which is $300 billion, and I'll take out liability insurance. If, there's an if in that sentence, Nancy. Did you not hear it through the hair extension? So, false narrative lie number one. Chuck Schumer's lie today was that there was an agreement from Mitch McConnell as well. There wasn't. Okay, lie number two. Steve Mnuchin introduced a proposal on behalf of the White House and said, here's the current White House's proposal for what we think for the stimulus bill, a stimulus package. And it said, I'm doing better than the moderates at $916 billion. Okay, there was about 3 untrue statements in Steve Mnuchin's tweet. I mean, it's not even a proposal, it's a tweet. First thing, it's not better than the moderates at $916 billion. It looks better because the number's higher. It's actually worse. This comes from Nancy actually correctly. Nancy Pelosi correctly indicates tonight that the White House's offer is worse because he's taking out more money from unemployment assistance and reducing unemployment assistance from, I think it was like $300 billion on the bill to $40 billion. So the offer is actually worse. It's not better. Second, Steve Mnuchin said this is the offer from the White House. It's not the offer for the White House. Why? Because minutes after the offer came out, the White House said, well, it was just a starting point. We've now revised it. What do you mean we've now revised it? It was only 15 minutes ago. The White House said, well, the White House wants to have a stimulus check in the CR. And Steve Mnuchin did not include it in his tweet, but the White House now believes that it should be a stimulus check in there. Okay, did someone not talk to Steve before he sent out his tweet? Because now the White House says this White House does not support Steve Mnuchin's own tweet. Yeah, okay, so you see how we're going here so far? You have a headache yet? There's Advil or Tylenol in the cabinet behind, so tell me when you're ready. All right, next item was all throughout the day, we heard that there's no money for a stimulus check. Well, there's $600 billion of CARES Act 1 money sitting around that could be repurposed for a stimulus check. And guess who talked about repurposing stimulus again today? Steve Mnuchin. Steve Mnuchin's tweet said we can repurpose stimulus, but not for a stimulus check, for other stuff. That's like last Friday when Larry Kudlow said there's SBA money sitting around, we can repurpose it for stimulus, but he didn't say the word stimulus check. Okay. Gotcha. Then Josh Hawley, the wonderful Republican out of Missouri who continues to slam these people, says, you know what, you can continue to do what you're doing, but the president's going to veto what you're doing. This is really quite interesting because this now shows another fake narrative somewhere else. Cedric Cassidy, the Republican out of Louisiana, says the president's supporting what's going on for the moderates. I told you the president's not. Also fake narrative. And now we know from Hawley, and now we know from the president tonight, the president will likely veto any CR if it does not have a stimulus check in there. It just keeps on coming. The gift that keeps on coming, everyone can't tell a straight story in Congress. It's just like, and they don't even have a good poker face when they're doing it. So as we sit here tonight, really, where are we? We have a bunch of people who literally are Pinocchios in front of us. What we have tonight is the following. We have no progress on anything. We still have Mitch McConnell at $500 billion with a proposal, a memo that was written by consulting with the President of the United States face to face in the Oval Office. Yes, Mitch, I will agree to this thing. Yes, Mr. President, I will do what you want. Okay, I want this. This was where the $500 billion came from. It didn't come from Mitch McConnell just doing it at a lobster clam bake somewhere. He actually went to consult with the president about it before he wrote it. On the other side, we have the moderates bill, which is the $900 billion. Who's supporting what? Currently, no Democrat is supporting the moderates. That's actually slowly imploded tonight. Well, I take it back. I can't even keep track of their stories. Nancy Pelosi says she supports the moderates, but then she says I support a stimulus check in there. So the moderates don't have a stimulus check in there, Nancy. So that means you don't support them. But there was 5 Democrats that came out with letters today, and in addition to Nancy Pelosi, said we're actually not voting in favor of the moderates bill unless there's a stimulus check in there. So they made it emphatic. Then there were 3 others over the weekend. There were Republicans. There's a whole Samba line lined up behind me that's ready to say we're not voting for it unless there's a stimulus check. The president's official statement from the White House tonight is the president wants a stimulus check in this CR. Now, the official statement doesn't say he's going to veto it if there is no stimulus check in the CR. Hawley is suggesting the president will, and that he's urged the president to veto it. So there you go. What do I think is happening? Well, I forgot one more fake thing. Last night, a news report said that we would not even reach to where we were tonight, that we were actually going to have this extended this morning. They said we weren't going to even reach to Tuesday evening. It was going to get extended to next week this morning. Well, that was also fake as well. So as we sit here tonight, what do I think is going to happen? I think you're going to get a stimulus check in there. I think it's going to be $1,200. I think they're going to realize they have the money for the $1,200 stimulus check. I think they're going to realize that they can remove something to do that. I think they're going to realize that they can start chopping away at something to add something else. Or we're going to have a shutdown. I mean, at this point, if people are really going to go to the mats about their particular thing, then there is no reason to even talk about this another minute. Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, if they're going to go to the mat about state and local, and Mitch McConnell, if he's going to go to the mat about liability insurance, then there will never be a CR. The government will shut down on December 11th. There's no reason to extension, and no one will get anything. They will not get their stimulus check, which goes back to what Purple Power said on day one. Stimulus checks or shutdown. I mean, if you can't get a stimulus check out, then it needs to be shut down because you're not doing anything that makes sense across the board. Meantime, what's going on with the other items in here? The only items they can agree upon is they want to do an extension of PUA and UI for 1 month. The great news as you sit here this evening is that states have really stepped forward and they're actually doing that. So states, and someone mentioned one state tonight in Beat and Mitch, and I forgot the state, sorry about it, but one state announced today that they're doing 2 more weeks of a UI to cover citizens into next month. In Hawaii, for example, they're covering you into several months because they say, we don't like what's going on in Congress. So states are slowly stepping forward and saying, we're going to give you additional weeks of UI and PUA so you don't expire. FPUC, Joe Biden's going to give you the FPUC retroactive starting next year at $600 a week back to August. He's going to give you hazard pay. He's going to give you $2,400 if you're on SSI and SSDI. Escalated, plus I'm talking like them now. $2,400, $200 a month from now to December of next year, amounted to $2,400 plus a 20% increase lifetime plus a step up based upon a new benchmark. Then he wants to give you the CDC grant, the EIDL grant, rent grant, food grant, hazard pay, and lifeline grant. He's going to take care of all those major things along with multiple stimulus checks in January. But for now, he just wants to get something out that works. Well, what works is stimulus check, eviction moratorium, mortgage forbearance. That needs to be in here. And despite everything that I just said in the last 12 minutes of the recording, no one today talked about mortgage forbearance. No one talked about eviction moratorium. That's really scary. That while everyone can certainly get on point now about a stimulus check, no one's getting on point about the concern that you could be evicted on January 1st. That situation is still not being solved by these people, not well sophisticated people in Congress. Then what else is going on? Well, cities and states across the country are absolutely stepping forward with stimulus checks. Orange in Florida, Orange County, new round of stimulus checks. New Mexico, Colorado, stimulus checks. And then cities are coming forward and saying, you know what? We're going to start doing rent stimulus. So San Diego County, New York State, New York City, Nashville, new. And then Harrisburg, and then another one in Ohio that I detailed on Mornings at LALATE, and Houston. More cities, counties, and states are coming forward. City of Atlanta, many counties in Georgia. And then the nonprofits are doing incredible jobs. The nonprofits are paying rent for viewers in Mississippi and Alabama and Louisiana. Absolutely incredible. What's important to understand is that the community of this channel, the 9 volunteers for CARES Act 1 money, and the one volunteer for EIDL are absolutely salt of the earth. So what you need to do is you first need to look for this CARES Act 1 money. I don't think it's going to be around more than a few more weeks. It's in your city hall, your county hall, your state housing authority, and your county housing authority. Call them up and say, do you have any rent assistance? Do you have any food assistance? Do you have any utility assistance? What I can say to you very clearly so far is that if you get a no on rent, 9 out of 9 times, they have something for utilities if you call your utility companies. The utility companies are generally all doing utility assistance. The word is assistance. Don't use the word grant. Don't add a qualifier for it. If I'm on this, do I get that? Just call up and ask the question. And 9 out of 10 are paying that. That's the incredible great news. The next issue is if you go city, state, county, and then you go to the utilities and you're still at a blockade, well, some of the privates, these nonprofits, are absolutely stepping forward and paying rent. The mindset you should be in is the following. Okay, I looked at the city, county, state. I didn't find anything. LALATE said these privates, these nonprofits, these national companies are paying rent. I need to find them. So you need to go to the community page, reach out to the volunteers, and these privates will help you. These are national companies that are nonprofits. Some are religious based, some are political based, and they're paying rents. Incredible, great news. Finally, the important thing to think about is don't always default for a stimulus check. The fact that some states started to send out stimulus checks seemed to ignite, and this is not a negative, but I'm just sort of forewarning you, seemed to ignite a sort of excitement for some viewers to just pursue the state stimulus check, but not the state stimulus rent. I just want a check. I don't want money for rent. Now, some viewers own and then a rent, or they don't pay for rent, so a rent check doesn't help them. But if you don't pay rent and you don't pay utilities, certainly the check is the thing you need to search. But if you do pay for rent and if you do pay for utilities, do not get excited about a check, stimulus check, because it may only be hundreds of dollars, whereas the rent is $5, $10, $15, $20,000. It's a huge, big difference to get the rent. They're paying 6 months, 12 months. Why would you be excited about a few $100 stimulus check? Last, I want you to ensure that you look for all of the things. So if you get the rent, don't stop and because I want you to also look for the utilities. If you get the check, don't stop with the check. Go get the rent as well. Next, do escalate benefits. Escalate benefits is when you send your state unemployment department your 2019 tax return and said, hi, I think I qualify for additional benefits. This is how it works. If you made over $18,000 in 2019, you qualify. This is how much you'll get based upon being unemployed since March, about 30 weeks. If you made $18,000 or more, but less than $25,000, you'll raise your benefits about $50 a week. That's about $1,500, bam, right in your account. If you made about $25,000 or more, you'll raise your benefits about $100 a week, which will be about $3,000, bam, right in your account. And if you raise your benefits if you made over $30,000 2019, you'll raise your benefits about $300 a week, which is about $10,000, bam, right in your account. One viewer watched this broadcast, and on Being a Mitch said he got $10,000. That was about an hour ago, just on this channel. So congratulations to that viewer. Finally, EIDL. And here's a new thing that I want to say about for EIDL. I had a very nice viewer on EIDL send me a private message a few minutes ago, and he applied for an EIDL. He is a Grubhub or like a Postmates driver, and he applied for EIDL. He made a mistake on his application. This is the mistake he said. It said, who is the applicant? He said Grubhub. He said, who's the employer? Grubhub. What's the company that's applying? Grubhub. And then he put his business number, his business account, checking account, his personal social security number. And they're like, well, why is Grubhub applying with your social security number? Oh, I made a mistake. So yeah, when you are an Uber, Lyft, Grubhub, Airbnb operator, the words of the companies you work for appear nowhere in the application. You nowhere put Airbnb or Airbnb social security. I don't even know what they have, their EIN. You don't put it anywhere. The applicant is you. The applicant is your social security number. The applicant is your business account number. So don't put Airbnb anywhere. Needless to say, the great thing is the viewer understood his mistake before he even asked me the question. He's like, I think I know what I made a mistake about. Join me for live right after this broadcast. I'll have big updates across the board, and if there's more gossip, I'll crush the gossip. And then join me tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, in which I'll have more fun killing gossip across the board as well. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay in that life for more.